Primetime Poulton, keep it entertaining. You already knowin', outworking everybody and he don't ever quit. Talking about plenty comics like Graveyard Shift, Sea Dogs, Fighting Wolf, USAssassin, doing just what he loves. This is his passion. Bring more value to your dollar. No, I'm not frontin'. That's how just a writer became a moral compass. This is Primetime Poulton. This is Primetime Poulton. Let's go.
Hey guys, what's up? Happy Thursday. It's the Moral Compass. And with me today, I got a special guest. I got Aardvark in the house. Thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, no problem. You're a guy I've seen around online as part of the CG scene, but we've never met. So this I'm looking forward to talking to you and finding a little bit more about you.
Yeah, we've crossed paths a few times, but never actually conversed. Yeah. But we have a lot in common, actually. We're both comic fans, both wrestling fans. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into all of that then. But first, we got to pay some bills around here. Loose Threads currently on Indiegogo. We got 12 days left. Seems like we've been stuck at $12,000 forever. At $15,000, we unlock the next stretch goal. But this is what happens to comic book characters when their series are canceled. A group of characters break out of comic book purgatory into the real world to track down their creator at a comic book convention to make him finish their stories so they can fulfill their destinies. We got a George Perez cover, what could very well be the last George Perez cover. Cesar Madaro, interior artist, met George at a Comic-Con in Spain a few years ago, and George graciously agreed to do this cover with Cesar. George did our main character, Queen Madeline, inside the crystal ball, and Cesar did the rest of our main villain, the Necro Dragon, all the skulls and flames, beautifully colored by Graveyard Shift colorist Anthony George. You can get that by itself or in a couple combinations, but I suggest the featured tier, the fan pack, where you get the George Perez cover, that awesome Chris Graves variant, which is right here, and then the black and white edition to really appreciate Caesar's pencil work. And then it also comes with the hardcover Emerge art of Heather Martin. Heather's done a bunch of pinups for me, and this is a collection of her work that she compiled while she battled cancer 6 times. So awesome artwork. You can get all 4 for $100, or if you signed up for our mailing list, you can get it for $80. 12 days left. Book's done, so it's going to be a fast turnaround. Just like most of my projects. Speaking of that, in the mail today, Black Owl arrived. I am currently fulfilling this. This is campaign number 14 being fulfilled. So stores, Indiegogo page is closed, but after I'm done fulfilling, I'll have some copies up on my website. One last project I want to shout out, and that is Graveyard Shift Omega Storm, the biggest Graveyard Shift adventure to date. 140 pages. And we just passed $80,000. 28 days left in the second half of the campaign. This story is a supplemental story, and it fits in right after my volume 4 and right before volume 5, which I'm writing. This one's written by John Malin with art by Tommy Patterson, inks by Jimmy Reyes. And this introduces a new team to the Graveyard Shift universe, Omega Storm. Our third team, we got Graveyard Shift, Division X, and now Omega Storm. Beautiful artwork by Tommy Patterson. Looks gorgeous. Great colors. Beautiful double page spread here. So 28 days left. Thank you, everyone, for your continued support on Graveyard Shift. It's made basically all my other projects, USAssassin, Viking Wolf, Sea Dog, Loose Threads, possible. So I'll always appreciate you guys. All right. We got Nicholas Gear in the house. What's up, Nicholas? Thanks for joining us. Dojo Kun in the house. Dojo says Mark is the fulfillment king. Thank you. Nicholas says send his out first. Let me drop some links for Loose Threads and Graveyard Shift. But Aardvark, have you? So you say we're both. You say you're a comic fan, a wrestling fan. When did you first fall in love with comic books?
So I kind of got off to a rough start with comic books. I think the first comic book I ever got was my grandma bought it for me, and it was a Spider-Man comic. But it wasn't really a comic. It was closer to a magazine. It had like a short story, like a short comic in it, and then it had like a fact file about Spider-Man. And I think it had Electro and Rhino on the cover. I think that was my first comic book, like American comic book.
Right.
We had comic books in Britain. There was two like main kids comic books that were I don't really know how to explain them, but they were called the Beano and the Dandy. My brother got the Beano, which had Dennis the Menace stories in and stuff like that. And I got the Dandy because me and my brother, we could never have the same things. We always had to have like different things. So I got the Dandy, and that had a character called Desperate Dan in it, who was I don't even know how to explain him. He's just a really buff farmer looking guy. But it's not a superhero comic in the slightest. But in my hometown, there was no comic book shops. I didn't know where there was a comic book shop. I would go everywhere, always looking for comic books. And I found one, and it was tucked away in a corner in an alleyway, which wasn't on a commercial high street. It was just like between two houses. And I found it, and then a month later, it closed down. So, and it wasn't until I became kind of financially, when I started making money and getting a job and stuff like that, but I started to regularly get comics, and so I was buying trade paperbacks, and I was buying, some of the big stories like All Star Superman, that kind of stuff. But I was always, I am a product of the 90s, and so I do have a case of the old, the bit of the weeb diagnosis. So I grew up watching Dragon Ball and Naruto, and so I read a lot of those mangas and stuff when I was in my teens. Yeah. Because they were easy to get online, and it was easy to find translations of them online. So it's like I said, it's been this rough and bumpy ride. It's not until I became financially independent that I was able to start really digging my teeth into American comic books. And I grew up watching all the X-Men animated series and Spider-Man animated series and those types of things. So I kind of became familiar with superheroes pretty much from day one, but actually digging my teeth into the comic books took a little while.
Oh, what's the age difference between you and your brother?
5 years.
Okay. So my brother and I'm 13 months younger than him. So we were always into the same stuff. But if I collected the G.I. Joe, the G.I. Joes, he had to collect Cobra because we didn't have the same stuff. So
yeah. It's me and my brother. It was I couldn't wear the same color T-shirt as him. It was that level of intensity. It was he had the PlayStation, I had the Nintendo. It was hardcore kind of rivalry.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. We collected baseball cards. If he collected Topps, I collected Fleer, just to be sports teams, everything. So yeah, I know how it is. So at what point did you decide that you were you wanted to make comic books?
So I've always wanted to be a writer. That's got to be something from day one. Look, Weebery isn't my blood type, right? It's something I occasionally dabble in, right? We all have our vices.
My son apparently is a weeb, so I still love him.
Well, yeah. There's more people reading Demon Slayer a month than have read Superman in the last 10
Yeah.
years. So, you know, it's tragically it's pretty much mainstream now. But where was I? Yeah. So I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always like been creating characters and universes. I've always been creating superheroes because I've always been into that. You know, it's not. I still got the Batman animated series, the X-Men animated series. We still had Western American superheroes pumped into English televisions. So I was always exposed to that, and I was always kind of coming up with stories. But it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I really kind of I really decided I would try something new because I've always been trying to write prose and it never really went anywhere. I've got so many unfinished books and so many like half-finished first chapters that I've never returned to, that are lost in like unlike USB sticks like on the other side of the Atlantic. And so I tried. I like comic books. I like superheroes. So why don't I try writing a superhero comic? And I wrote a couple of superhero scripts. I came across. I don't know how, but we met online, and I met this guy who is now known in CG as the man named Kemosabe.
Okay.
Lee Byron Carver, who made The Company Men, and he made. He's got a load of other IPs, but The Company Men so far is his only. It's his only publication. Yeah. And he read my scripts and he was like blown away by them. He was like, he said it was like, you're like a Silver Age writer. This stuff is so good. It needs to be seen. Like you have to publish this. You have to, whatever it takes, because you're such a good writer. This is his words, not mine. And so that was the encouragement I got. And then, you know, I created this character, Aquila, who was the first superhero I designed, you know, when going in the first script I wrote. Yeah, it just all kind of went from there.
Yeah. So you said you have a lot of unfinished you started a lot of scripts that never finished. Did you ever think about revisiting them? Because I have so many comic pitches that like went like 5 pages, and then for whatever reason, artists dropped off or lost interest, whatever. I thought about collecting all of them into like a big collection and just like releasing it and calling it Unfinished Business, something like that.
Yeah, like probably, yeah. Like I have the benefit of like half my life things have been in cloud. Mm-hmm. So occasionally I'll like, what was that idea I had a few years ago? And I can just very easily like find it on the cloud or whatever. And nice. Or like when I'll be looking for something else, and then I'll see this thing with this like really ambiguous title, and I'll be, what the hell's that? And I'll open it and it'll be something I wrote 6 years ago. You know, that I just abandoned.
Good news, you're off the hook with Dojo. He says guilty pleasures can be overlooked, so no worries about the weebery. Nicholas says, when my brother and I were little, we got Batman raincoats, one the black suit and one the gray and blue suit. We fist fought over who got the gray and blue. Dojo says Kemosabe is a tough critic too.
Yeah, he is. He's very honest with his criticisms, and so you know. Yeah, so that's all the a lot of encouragement for me to kind of step into the writing world.
Nicholas Gear says my unfinished business compilation would be cool, although Amanda B says she doesn't want to read a half-finished story. She needs closure.
All right. Well, don't be a Game of Thrones fan then.
So let's get into your project. Let me see if I can get this right. Aquila?
I say Aquila. You can say it however you want. I'm fed up with this argument. It's actually, according to Google Translate Latin, it is Aquila, but I've been saying Aquila and Aquila. I don't want to add a third one to the mix.
So Aquila of the Phoenix Guard, #1, Nightmare Fuel. Tell us about this. What's the story about?
So Aquila is a member of an organization called the Phoenix Guard, which are a galactic space force. And every solar system has got one Phoenix Guard. It doesn't matter how many planets there are. It doesn't matter how many of those planets are inhabited. Doesn't matter how many, what the crime rate is in particular areas. They have one Phoenix Guard per solar system. It doesn't make sense to us, but it makes sense to the aliens running the galactic government. And it turns out that our solar system, being just a bunch of rocks and gas giants with not really much going on, it's the perfect hideaway for criminals. So it's full of alien space crooks and bandits that are using our sector of space as a pirate's cove, so to speak. And so Aquila's really got his work cut out for him. And in this book, he comes across a gang led by a space squatch called USASsassin, who is leader of a terrible gang called the Black Skull Gang, who are a ugly gang of marauding alien weirdos. And in this book, he gets into a confrontation and dispenses justice.
Man, I gotta say the artwork is absolutely fantastic. Who's the artist on the book?
So yeah, I've been working with Michael Odin quite a lot on this book, and he recommended there was an original version of the book that was done completely finished by a different artist, which is available on the campaign as an add-on. But it didn't deliver the what I wanted. It didn't, and this was my first step into the comic book world, and I wanted to make a big splash. And so Odin recommended, why don't we try again with Kari Salviejo, who worked on it with him on SBQR. And she'd already done the cover for me, so she knew the character, she knew me, and so it was a no-brainer. And I kind of took a gamble on getting the entire book completely redrawn, and it paid off because I've just got some incredible, digital inks and pencils.
Yeah, this is phenomenal. And apparently one of the stretch goals was producing the book in color. The colors are beautiful too. Who do you have on board for that?
Again, it's another Michael Odin recommendation. It was Avery Ferdinand, who worked with him on Elysian Fields, who is now like the most in-demand colorist in the CG slums. It's like everyone's getting a bit of Avery. Kimasabe is working with him. I think Arvid is working with him. Arvid Nelson. And a few other people have reached out as well. So, just an absolutely phenomenal colorist. And it should have been, the way it was originally supposed to be in black and white. And the black and white art by itself was mind blowing. And we got it colored as an experiment. I thought, why don't we try coloring it just to see what it looks like? And I got it one page colored, and I was just flabbergasted. I was like speaking in tongues. I was like, yeah, we have to get this funded now to be colored.
Yeah, no, this is gorgeous. A good colorist is in demand. Like I'm in love with Anthony George, our graveyard shift colorist. So when possible, I try to keep him on everything I do. So I know how valuable, once you find that that great colorist, you want to hold on to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's bringing so much, like, because it's space, right? So you'd expect it to just be like black vacuumless backgrounds, but Avery's colors make it so vibrant and beautiful, and it's an absolute pleasure to look at it.
Let's go over some of the rewards. Your featured tier is the Space Defender pack.
Yeah.
What is everything included in this?
So in that you get the Interstellar edition, which is the standard edition with the Dean James cover. That's just 24 pages of story. That would be $10 by itself. You also get the Lone Phoenix Guard edition, which is got the Kari Salviejo Virgin wraparound cover. That's got some bonus pages as well in the back. So if you've ever seen the Star Wars visual dictionaries, there's a page like that where it's a picture of Aquila with like a diagram, all the little arrows coming off his armor, describing bits and pieces what all of his armor does. There's character profiles. Every character in this book that shows up has got a character profile in the back of the book, and there's also some concept art behind the scenes the original Aquila designs done by Kemosabe, and the my terrible sketch that I did of a completely different character that somehow morphed into a space cop. You can see that as it was drawn on lined notepad paper 7 years ago.
So you also get the collector's box and a pin and patch, as well as the standee.
Yeah,
I believe.
So the pins are I actually have the pins. I've already ordered them. And so they've come. They're about 2 inches, 2 inches long. They look great, and a nice conversation piece. The patches as well. Yeah, that is the logo of the alien gang. I made it. We got a skull, and when we made it into an alien skull, and just if you want to make something aliens, give it 4 eyes. It's the easiest way.
Looks great. And then this is the standee.
That's going to be 6 inches, a 6-inch standee. And if you want to know how good the art is in this book, that was a piece that Kari wasn't happy with.
Oh wow!
So that was and she was like, "Oh, I can do better." And I was like, "No, I'm using the whole animal, you know. Yeah." And so I was like, "No, I'm salvaging it," and I took it and turned it into a standee, and it's a great pose for the standee.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And then this is the collector's box.
Yeah, so it's going to be 11 inches in size and 3 inches thick or something, 2.5 inches thick. So you're going to get a nice, durable collector's box that's going to have that beautiful wraparound cover on it.
Nice. And this is in demand right now, right?
Yeah, so the campaign wrapped up on September 13th, but we're still in demand. And so you can purchase all these books and the collector's box and the prototype edition, as I like to call it. It's all still available for you to snag.
And how far along are you with production?
So the colors are about I want to say a third of the way done. It's only a 24-page comic, so it's not taken that long to get done. But Avery is Kari's art is so detailed, and Avery is such a fantastic colorist that he's taken his time. The digital pencils and inks are 100% done, and letters, as you know, only take a couple of days to get right. So we should be looking at getting this fairly soon.
Awesome. Dave Brink says, "Good looking book."
That's thank you very much.
Dojo says, "You already do speak in tongues, dude."
I study languages as a hobby, so maybe that's what he's talking about, because I can converse in a few foreign languages.
Oh, got a Crazy Mad in the house. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, Crazy Man?
Next up, you have the Interstellar edition by itself for $10.
Yep, that's got the Dean James cover, which was done completely just by him, completely traditional methods, pencils, inks, and colors, all by himself. And the colors were done with Copic markers, so it's got a very unique, very vibrant look to it.
And then for $15, the Lone Phoenix Guard edition.
Yeah, that's the special edition with all the bonus pages that I mentioned. It's going to have a Virgin wraparound cover by Kari, and it's going to look beautiful. It's got between 8 and 10 extra pages.
Nice, and it looks like you sold out of your original art.
Yeah, that's all gone. But all the some of the art that was done, they were stretch goals to be included on the campaign, so you can get your own miniaturized version of these art pieces with as a trading card and as a mini print.
Awesome. Yeah, these original art tiers, if you're interested, you need to act quick, because apparently there's a lot of art collectors in CG, which is very, very great for the people offering the original artwork.
Yeah, well, if this is the Iron Age of comics, the last couple of years have been, like the smelting age. So people want to get those original. They want to get those original. What would you call it? They want, before this gets even bigger.
Oh yeah, get in on ground floor with some original characters.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aquila's going to be up there. He's going to be a recurring character. He's going to show up. I'm going to make a lot of books. I've already written 12 scripts for this character, and I've got a whole bunch of other ideas as well, kind of in the can.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you what's next for you.
Hopefully, Aquila 2, which would it'd just be a similar kind of thing. I'm going episodic with this, so every issue is a standalone comic. So this book has got a beginning, middle, and an end. There are stuff in the background though that is leading towards a bigger, a larger story. But for now, it's one book, one villain, one book, one gang of villains, and it's a busy life for a Phoenix Guard in the solar system. So he's always no time to sleep because crime doesn't sleep.
So I think I saw you post this is your first campaign, and I think I saw you post that you have appeared on like 32 different channels promoting this.
Yeah, that was correct? Actually mathematically incorrect. Actually, I've gone on. I think this is the 34th or maybe the 35th. I've actually made a note of chronicled each one of that I've been on. And I think it turns out there was one or two missing off my Excel spreadsheet. But it's about 34. Yeah.
As a first time creator, how has the promotion process been for you?
It has been arduous. When I tell people how many shows I've been on, they're like 32, 34, what the heck? Like they would and that's just like the channels. I've been on several channels multiple times as well to promote. So, but yeah, during the campaign, things have died down a little bit since the campaign ended. But during the campaign, it was heavy traffic, and but I've loved it. Getting to know everybody, meeting new friends, interacting with the chat. Seeing that the numbers on the campaign go up, it's always very fulfilling.
No, that's great. You're putting in the work, and you have a great product too. So it's, I don't know, the sky's the limit for you, man, with this type of hustle.
Yeah. I've got a kind of mentality. I'm very, like I said earlier, use the whole animal. And I want to, pretty much get as much as I can out of it, and I love the whole experience.
That's awesome. So another thing you mentioned that you loved that you said we had in common was you're a wrestling fan.
Yeah, me accidentally falling into the trap of pro wrestling. It was a complete. I used to live in South Korea, and I, for some reason, was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I turned on the TV, and it was showing American wrestling live, and it was the only thing on the television that was English. So, I watched. I got a taste of pro wrestling, and it's been down. It's been down since from there.
So are you watching anything of the current product?
Yeah, like I've been quite interested in the Triple H era of WWE. That's it's a huge turnaround from what was being delivered previously. But recently I've just been so busy. I've not had a chance to watch the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, with Triple H taking over, it's been very, very exciting. First time in a long time for WWE. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't agree with some of his hires, but I could do without Johnny Gargano on my television. But we'll take what is it he say? Take the good with the bad. I I love all the stupid stuff with Dexter Lumis. I like seeing Bray Wyatt back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to complain about seeing an Io Shirai match or a Dakota Kai match. You know, so
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. The Good Brothers are back, paired
Yeah.
up with AJ Styles, so that makes me happy.
yeah, like you know, the Judgment Day was dead. It was
Yeah.
completely dead, and then suddenly it's one of the most interesting things to watch on the show.
That being said, what's your thoughts on Dominic Mysterio?
God, he should have been a masked wrestler. He should have gone to AAA for a couple of years. He should have been Colibri Jr. in a mask, and then he should have gone to NXT, and then he should have gone to you know, onto the. I don't think he's got it yet. He's not quite there.
I'm gonna say, since he's turned heel and turned on his dad, and being paired up with Judgment Day, I find him to be one of the most I don't know, entertaining characters. I don't know if you watched it this week, but he said he was this generation's Eddie Guerrero.
Well, I always thought, fantasy booking, I always thought the heel turn would be, him celebrating some kind of victory and then him knocking out Ray and then picking up a mic and saying, "Mi amo Dominic Guerrero."
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Now that he, disavowed his dad, I'm waiting for him to take his real dad's
last
name.
Yeah, Dominic Guerrero. I wonder if they got the copyrights to that.
Oh man, I bet Eddie would love that.
Eddie would have loved it, but Vicky owns all the Eddie rights. So.
But then they could bring Chavo in to be like his mentor, and
you can tell we're writers, can't you?
Writers, fans. I fantasy book this all the time.
Yeah, I actually, that was one of the things I loved about it. I was watching it, because it's such a unique form of entertainment. There's nothing like it. And that was what drew me into it. It was all the possibilities and how different it is and how it's a kind of fusion between real life and storytelling in such a, and I've ever since I got into it, I've been to so many shows live as well. Even, before and after the pandemic. I went to WrestleMania 35, whichever one was in New York. I went to that one, and that was pretty much less than a year after I got into wrestling. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think most wrestling fans are. We watch it and we hope it happens the way we want it, and then when we see it, was like, oh, it'd be so much better if it was like this.
Oh, thank God it wasn't like this. Yeah. But even the quality of the matches has gone up. It's not just the storytelling; it's just the matches have become more entertaining, and the variety.
I think it shows Triple H as a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Where Vince he wanted it to be entertainment. He didn't want it to be wrestling.
Yeah. And we're getting so much, like Survivor Series is going to be War Games, which it just seems like it should have been done years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be whatever it's going to be. Bloodline against, I don't know, Imperium or something like that. That sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I know they just Bloodline just took out Sheamus, so I don't know if that's going to be part of the angle where the battling brutes and
Imperium has to team up. Now that would be against Bloodline. That would be good.
Yeah. So a lot to be excited.
They're all European. That would be it's all a bunch of Europeans against Samoans and Sami Zayn.
Corey Barton says the Barton Bros make the best matches. Corey, one half of the Barton Bros. Up and coming tag team in the CGWF.
My
do you watch any
Dragon Ball aficionado?
Do you watch any of the CGWF action?
I get too much wrestling as it is. Fake wrestling is fake fighting is it's a bit it's a bit much.
Just wait till you're added to the roster.
Until I'm in it, yeah. I actually the Aquila mask is a luchador mask.
Oh, there you go.
I can don it right now. Hold on. and I'll go on the camera. But allow me to don the Aquila mask. This is
I'd love to see it.
Everyone's favorite part of the show. Give me a second while I grab it.
Yeah. I'll share the link. If you haven't backed, please do so. The book looks fantastic.
Hola.
Here we go. Yeah, you do look like a luchador.
Yeah, well, that was the intent. It's a stylized to look like a luchador mask.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, I wish it was a lot less tight on the face. Because it's very constricting on the airways. But yeah,
I think that's a perfect segue to get back to the campaign. I didn't play the video, but I'm going to do so now.
Go ahead. Still not over that music. I love that music.
That is great music. It reminds me of, I don't know. It does remind me of Weebury. Like,
yeah, it does come. It is a bit of it's reminiscent. The track is called Mini Boss, and I found it on Epidemic Sound, and I was like, that is perfect. I need to use it, so I took it.
Ronco Pop in the house. Thanks for joining us.
Good day.
So I'm going to suggest everyone get this featured tier, the Space Defender pack. It comes with the Interstellar edition, the Lone Phoenix Guard edition, the collector's box, the pin, the patch, and the standee. I believe, is this the only way to get the pin, the patch, and the standee?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely. And the book is absolutely gorgeous. I can't get over these colors. Fantastic.
And that's what they look like on a computer screen. When you get them in your hand, it's going to be even better.
Oh, we got D-Wag in the house.
Bow.
So as we wrap this up, is there anything you would like the fans to know?
Well, we're progressing on the campaign very quickly. Like I said, we're about a third of the way done through the colors. And Avery's taking his time as well to make sure it's very, very as beautiful as it possibly can be. So if you back the book, you'll be getting it in very, very due time, very soon.
That's awesome. That's what I like to hear.
It's very affordable as well. $10 and entry price if you just want to test the waters. Strong recommendation as well that you get you get what I call the prototype edition as an add-on. I didn't want to put it on as a perk because it might confuse people, but there is a digital add-on for the prototype edition for $5. So at the checkout, make sure you, if you want to see what the original version of the book looked like, it had a lot more. It's all black and white. It's all, but it's all stylized in a certain way, and it is got a different ending. So it's basically a different book. The last third of the book is completely different. So, it's a whole new story, and that's finished. So as soon as I start mailing them out, I'll be emailing those out as well.
That's awesome. 2 versions of the book, and you can add it on for $5.
Yeah.
That's a great deal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to thank you for for joining me today. Where can people find you on the internet?
I hang out on Twitter mostly, and my is @comics_Aardvark, as you can see on the screen. It's Aardvark with 2 A's, and yeah, that's what I am. I'm always in the chats, you know. So if you go on Bancroft, if you go on LCH CG Talk, you go in them. I'll be hanging out in there as well, most likely. So
awesome, and guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram @ConeyWaves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton. Hit the notifications. I have Loose Threads and Graveyard Shift currently on Indiegogo, but my next book, Hurley's Heroes, launches January 4th. I want to close the show out with the trailer, but I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. And go support Aardvark, man. He's killing it right now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Oh, tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way. I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.